This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
This week on Off the Record, shots fired on the UNC Charlotte campus, and the chancellor calls it the worst day in school history. 2 dead, 4 wounded, 1 in jail, all students. Lots to talk about. Charlotte overall a lot more violent this year than last year, triple the homicide rate so far. Even the police aren't sure why. A day off school for the kids as teachers head to Raleigh, but does protesting for higher pay really make a difference? And first came those higher tax value notices for Mecklenburg homeowners. Now maybe a higher tax rate, too. Off the Record's next on PBS Charlotte. Hi, I'm Jeff Sonnier. This is Off the Record, where we talk about the stories you've been talking about this week. And if you watch the news, read the news, or listen to the news, you'll recognize the names and faces around our table. Dedrick Russell from WBTV and Mark Becker from WSOC-TV. Thanks for being here. Also, Eli Portillo of the UNC Charlotte Urban Institute and Ashley Fahey, Charlotte Business Journal. Thank you for joining us. You can also join the conversation at home. Just email your questions and comments to offtherecord@WTVI.org. Yeah, the images we saw this week, police running towards the building from the helicopter shot, the kids coming out with their hands over their heads. We've seen these scenes before, we just haven't seen them here, and it's just tough to watch. Mark, you were out there this week.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really said, we've seen it, as you said, in other places. There was the shooting in the San Diego area, and it's our turn. I mean, I hate to put it in those terms, but I heard that phrase several times. We are, of course, shocked, but at the same time, the bad cliche goes, really not surprised, right? Because what's to keep it from happening here or anywhere? Which has sort of been the point of all of the mass shootings, whether it's the school in Florida or the synagogue in Pittsburgh or other places. And so, yes, about 5:40, right? The first calls came in. And UNC Charlotte police. And this was remarkable, and we gave them some love this week, and I think they deserved it, because they happened to have a concert that night with Waka Flocka, which I had got to pronounce that right, Waka Flocka Flame of Old, but he was going to be at UNC Charlotte, so they had extra officers. They had just done a roll call for the people who were going to be covering that when this call came out, and every single one of those officers went immediately toward where the shots were fired. And one of the phrases I thought was really interesting is they're trained to go toward the sound, right? The sound of gunfire, the sound of screaming, and they did.
And it was an officer who confronted the accused shooter and disarmed him, or at least talked him out of his gun?
It was a sergeant who had actually been in law enforcement for 20 plus years, and some of those officers at UNC Charlotte have been, as the chief himself had been in CMPD for years. So they're not all green and inexperienced officers. In fact, some of them are very experienced. But he got in there, and of course we learned later it was one of those victims, one of the students, Riley Howell, who had basically seen the shooting start, and he went after the guy. And in a remarkable tribute, CMPD chief Kerr Putney said, we train people to run, hide, or fight. The first 2 options weren't going to work. He went, he took the fight to the guy, and he saved lives. And we've heard it since, but a remarkable story.
Yeah. Eli, your office is on campus, and I think you said before we started taping today that next door or very close to where it all happened?
Yes, so the shooting was in a classroom in the Kennedy building. My office at the Urban Institute is in a building called Colvard that's basically next to across a small plaza connected by walkways. A lot of the images that you saw on TV, that's where I work. That's where my colleagues and I have our offices. We sit in a row of glass offices on the ground floor, and that was right where everyone was streaming by. I actually left campus a few minutes before. It was the end of the day, but several of my colleagues and hundreds and probably thousands of other people throughout campus were locked down in offices and classrooms for hours afterwards, and just waiting for the all clear, trying to figure out what was going on. And I think that note that you both made about how it was shocking but not surprising. I really feel that personally. In my former job at the Charlotte Observer last year, we had excuse me, active shooter training for our entire newsroom in case someone came in with a gun and started firing. We were taught by CMPD. They have several instructors. When I started my new role at the UNC Charlotte Urban Institute, one of the first things we talked about in orientation was the school regularly offers active shooter training for employees and students on a set schedule. Here's where you go to sign up. Department heads request it for their departments. This is really something that has seeped deeply into the architecture of our work and school lives, and seeing it happen at a place where we work every day has been really surprising and shocking and saddening for all of my colleagues.
As reporters, we ask people, how they feel when something like this happens, but when you're part of that community as you are now, even though it's been for a short time, it kind of changes the perspective, I suppose, I guess.
Yes, it does. I was off campus Wednesday. It was closed down. They had everyone, they just said, take the day off. I was back there yesterday on Thursday, and it was very quiet. The academic activities have been canceled. A lot of staff and faculty were not there. I was walking from my office to get a cup of coffee, which is 2 buildings over, and walked past Kennedy Hall with students standing outside, holding each other, crying, laying flowers, and this is unfortunately part of our reality now.
But it's so amazing how this tragedy is bringing the community together.
I was going to say,
Butler High School, they took a picture where, they had on green at the Wells Fargo Golf Championship, they had a wall where people were signing, giving their best wishes to the UNC, and then how the students came together. Like 7,500 people showed up in the Halton Arena for that vigil, and they sang songs and they came together. And then I guess the one good thing is that one of those victims will be able to walk across the stage to get her
Right, Emily Haupt, one of the victims who is in the hospital now, but we're told that she will be released in time for graduation and be able to get that diploma that she worked so hard for.
Yeah, and I don't want to glorify or dwell on the young man who's charged here, right? But you have to wonder what created that. And I wasn't there when they brought him in, but he made some comments which would suggest he was almost cavalier, beyond cavalier.
Kind of cocky about it, frankly. That's what I thought, yeah.
And, it's sad. And what can we do? We can grieve, of course, but what do we do going forward? Is there any way to throw up red flags? He bought the gun legally. I mean, I really don't think that's an issue in this case. I don't know, but...
Didn't have a criminal record of any sort, wasn't on anyone's radar according to the police.
And his father is a city employee, and that's tough.
And I guess the investigation will lead to some things, because WBTV is reporting that sources are telling us that he did confess, and that he had a fascination with other school shootings, and that he was staking out other places to maybe attack.
That's
but he used UNC Charlotte. So I guess the investigation will reveal more, and I guess the sad part is that once this judicial system process, these families are going to have to live this all over again as this goes through the court system.
And I think there's always a balance in the news industry, and it's something folks are very conscious of right now, between not glorifying someone, not giving them the attention they seek. There are debates about whether it's right to name accused shooters in situations like this and that sort of thing. But I think it's important that we make an effort to try to understand what led to this.
The reasoning.
Because even if we never get satisfactory answers, which frankly there is no satisfactory answer, it's still important to look for, was there any place where there were red flags that were missed? We saw that in the shooting last year in Florida at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. They found there afterwards that there had been repeated contacts with law enforcement and other social services agencies between them and that shooter, and none of those resulted in him being prevented from owning and possessing weapons. So I think it's important that we not glorify these people, but try to make some kind of effort to understand, is there anything that the system could change to, if not prevent, at least lower the odds of this sort of thing in the future?
Yeah, you see the pain on Phil Dubois' face, the chancellor, talking about what happened, and I know that they're ordering up, a review now of their security measures, their
Right.
response measures. You know, but what else can you do? I mean, since Columbine, every school, every campus has got some awareness of this. There's training that kids as low as first and second grade go through that we would never in our lifetimes ever thought we would have gone through as we didn't go through as children. I mean, what can you do when you've got a person that's, that's what they're bound and determined to to accomplish or to commit. All the security in the world sometimes is just not enough, unfortunately.
Well, we have an open society. UNC Charlotte, of course, is an open campus. Can walk into buildings. It's a college environment with access for the public
Yeah.
and for students. So, in an open society with a lot of guns, you do run into that problem. I will say, as someone working there, I was, pleasantly surprised by how effective a lot of the security measures seem to be. I was receiving text alerts, a phone call alert, immediately computer screens locked up throughout campus, everything logged onto the network and flashed messages, warning, telling
It's
people
pretty
what
remarkable,
to do.
really.
Yeah, one professor
Yeah.
talked about his PowerPoint went
Right.
immediately to the emergency message without him touching a thing. It just
Yeah.
the system
Right.
took over,
And then
basically.
with
Doors
one
locked
click of a button,
automatically
with
and
one click of a
remotely.
button.
Actually, when I got to my building on Thursday, it was still locked automatically and remotely. And students and professors, in many cases, were hearing that they knew what to do and reacted very quickly to secure doors, to barricade them, to take whatever action they could. In some ways, that's reassuring. A lot of this training that we do appears to work. In other ways, it's disheartening
Yeah, it's-
because everyone knows what to do. if
Comes after
someone
the fact
comes
of,
in.
Because
of
that's
what
the
happened,
reality.
this week. So,
Right.
yeah. Well, we'll hear more from the investigation and as the court case plays through and everything, but just a sad week, a tough week for everybody involved. And obviously our hearts and our prayers go out to the folks on campus at UNC Charlotte and the families who are specifically involved here. Just a terrible situation out there. Earlier in the week, the police talked about how much more violent Charlotte as a community is becoming, in particular with their homicide rate. Once again, even the police are at a loss to explain this. I mean, is this the new normal that our society is facing?
Well, I hope not.
Yeah.
There were 2 more murders, within 24 hours of those 2 at UNC Charlotte. Completely separate parts of town, different circumstances, but murders. And we're up to 47 now. And we
Which
have
puts us on a pace to surpass the record that we thought would never be surpassed, that 100 plus murders back in the
122.
early
It
90s.
feels
yeah.
like a million, though,
Yeah.
and in speaking with the mother of one young woman who was killed a week ago, it hurts. Every single one of them hurts. And they're all different circumstances, and police have said many times already this year, look, we don't know. I mean, we can't draw a line and say, okay, we've got that one issue, drugs, or we've got
Yeah.
domestic violence, or we've got a gun issue. Obviously, guns are involved in many of them, but there's no single answer.
Yeah,
And that's
early in the
problem.
90s, it was a drug gang situation that kind of escalated, and
You
that's
could
where a lot
focus
of the
there,
victims and the
right,
suspects were. But this seems to be so random all over town for no. No good reason. I guess there's never a good reason to pull the trigger, but these things seem so petty that lead to these things.
And sociologists and criminologists don't have a fantastic explanation for why the murder rate and the violent crime rate dropped precipitously in the U.S. after the early 90s. There are a lot of theories about it, but there was no, magic method of policing that worked. There were broken windows policing. There were all kinds of different theories tried out in different cities, and a lot of them worked with a lot of different approaches, eventually became less effective. Nobody knows, one correct thing to police to drop the murder rate and drop homicide and drop violent crime rates. And nobody knows right now why this is happening, not just in Charlotte, but in a lot of American cities. There are explosions of violence in other cities like Baltimore, Chicago. DC is seeing a higher murder rate, and unfortunately, I have not seen a good explanation for, or a good theory for what's driving this.
Well, police are saying one thing: social skills. It seems like conflict resolutions, because they said that in the press conference, they said that these issues are coming with people who do not know how to handle conflicts with each other.
I'm going to stand this in and hope it doesn't ring, but you know, the social media, which really aren't social at all, this sort of pseudo-social thing, I can say something about you, tweet it, and put it out there, and something I may never say to your face, but you take it and come back at me. I'm not going to tell you that that caused a lot of things, but I think we've lost this human interaction and this ability to resolve conflicts.
And things escalate so quickly, too.
I think it has a lot to do with how we communicate or don't
The immediacy of it as well.
It's interesting, too. I looked at a story this week that talked about how the city council 2 years ago, 3 years ago, appropriated money for more police officers on the street. They still haven't hired those extra officers because they're having problems recruiting. I guess this particular aspect of society comes at a time when police departments are having issues, problems, you know, bringing people into their ranks and helping to, you know, keep this from happening.
You want that job.
Yeah, really.
You put yourself at risk, and you wear the body cam, and you're second guessed on everything, and they need to be scrutinized, to be sure, but would you wear a body cam all day long and have somebody come back? I mean, it's a tough job.
Right.
And it's not just that they're having trouble recruiting, they're losing officers, right?
Yeah.
So they're treading water here. They're filling the bucket as soon as it's emptying on the other end. So
And not only can you put on the uniform, but you also will have to have a connection with the community, because you know, back in the day, you know, I was introduced to Officer Friendly. So, you know, so they were out in the schools, they were out in the communities, they lived next door to you, they knocked on your door, so that if little Johnny got into trouble, if little Johnny was holding a gun, that officer could come say, little Johnny, you know, put that gun down. And so there was a connection there. So even though I guess we're so busy with the training and with this and making sure you don't do this, that we're missing that aspect of connecting with the community.
These days, families are as likely to tell little Johnny to be careful when you're around the police as they are to say the police is your friend.
Right,
that's
they're
what-
there to serve and protect you. You know?
Right. So.
Right.
Well, you know, there are other things happen this week, and let's talk about those. This is a tough decision, a tough couple of topics. But so let's talk about higher taxes. That's going to bring everybody up. Right? County manager made a recommendation this week in her new proposed budget, and it's the recommendation that a lot of taxpayers were kind of fearing, and that is to add extra pennies onto the tax rate in addition to the higher valuations that we all saw a couple of months ago. You were there, I guess, when she made that recommendation?
Yeah, so the tax rate is technically lower, but because the property values went up so high, what a revenue neutral rate looks like for fiscal year 2020 is about 59.7 cents per 100.
Traditionally, that's what the governments would do. They would lower the tax rate to offset the higher value.
That's right. And what they're proposing is a 1.99 cents above the revenue neutral rate, which when you plug it into the formula, when you consider what your old tax or old property value was compared to your new property value, the percentage of change there, that's going to result in, I would say, more than half of residential, and certainly probably more than 75% of commercial property owners seeing an increase in their tax bill.
It means more people will pay more taxes than they would have if they'd kept that tax rate where they've traditionally kept it at,
or
that
kept it
neutral
at revenue
level.
neutral. That's right.
Commercial, I think it's important to note, includes apartments. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
but
people don't. Yeah.
Apartments and commercial property are facing potentially some of the highest increases from this, and that can affect, since we live in a community that's, about 40-some% renters, that's going to affect a lot of people through that
So
as
we've
well.
talked about this around this table, how this new makeup of the county commission, all Democrats, not as many fiscal conservatives as we've seen in the past, would that result in perhaps different marching orders than management's had in the past? In order, are we willing to raise taxes to take the political heat to do more of the things that we think are important? I guess we're kind of seeing that now, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think some commissioners have been they've waffled a little bit on it. They say, well, especially ones where it was a Republican representative in the seat before they got elected. They say, well, we do have to remember, we don't want to, raise taxes too high. We don't, want to do other things. But then others have said, listen, we have a lot of priorities we want to fund. And that includes affordable housing, that includes parks and greenways, that includes even $50 million more for CMS. all these things they say, as some commissioners say, they cost money and we have to fund them somehow.
Yeah, I think the commissioners, they all over the last few months have named their priorities and told the manager what their priorities are. And the manager's recommended budget funds a lot of those priorities. They're going to debate it over the next month before they settle on it. But individually, most of these programs, I think, are things that people would agree are important in the community. There's $13 million more for the Parks and Rec Department, which has been chronically underfunded. There's the $50 million more for CMS. There's
$15 million more for affordable housing.
Yep, and that includes $12 million for a new rent subsidies for people, who can't get federal rent assistance and need help. So,
And that's a big gap in the current housing market.
so it's a situation where there's a lot of things that a lot of people have pointed to and said that looks great, but are they
pay
going to
for
go
it?
through?
Right,
with
but it's
it?
going to be very interesting because I guess they have a public hearing on May 9th. So we will see how many people will line up to say, do not raise my taxes,
Right.
or if people will come out and say, hip, hip, hooray.
It's worth it, right.
You're doing it.
Right.
Well, here's
You don't live in the county, do you?
well, here's the catch-22. I mean, the programs that they want to fund with these extra tax dollars are aimed at a population that might be equally hurt by the higher tax rate because they live in housing, apartments, and places that are more susceptible.
They're a small business owner. They're surely going to see an increase.
Again, you're helping on with, you're taking money out of their pocket with one hand and putting money into their pockets with the other hand. And I'm not sure that anybody in the end is any better off than they were to begin with.
Well, the county and the county manager are trying to say that this is, they believe, a sweet spot where.
Yes, that was the word she used.
Yep,
the
that's
phrase
what
she
Dina
used.
Diorio said, where people are not going to be badly hurt by this. The example they gave was a $250,000 house whose value went up to $350,000. That a homeowner would pay $107 more a year in property taxes under this new rate. So $107 a year doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of houses went up a lot more than 40%.
Right.
That's kind of the catch in this example the county's giving. A lot of houses in lower income areas, like Cherry,
They're the ones
Druid
that are going to
Hills,
have
Over
those
100%.
places
much higher bills
went up
than they've had in
100,
the
200,
past.
even
Yeah.
300%. So you're talking potentially about lower income people for whom several $100s is really tough, and that's what they could be facing.
Yeah. And even in that example that they gave, if you had a 58% increase in your value, which is a little bit higher but still not as high, that's a 17.5% increase the next year on your tax bill.
The sweet spot used to be zero. I mean, the sweet spot was let's not raise taxes, let's set our priorities and figure out a way to do this.
I think this also just gets back to the fact that you have such a trough and peak with the revaluation in this cycle. 2011 property values were terrible. I'm imagining they were not great. We were in the middle of a recession, and they were so dramatically increased with all the growth and what we're seeing in Charlotte right now that sticker shock it's real, and that increase it's dramatic.
And at risk of sounding like maybe the Grinch who's going to steal tax Christmas here, I mean, if not now, when, right? I mean, we are booming. We need some of these issues we talked about, schools, growth. We need affordable housing. I mean, we're doing generally pretty well, better than we were during 10 years ago. So maybe this is a time to consider a moderate, and I suspect there'll be some backing off of that increase. I mean,
And I guess it would be the return on investment, because now with $50 million, we're going to CMS more, then that means that teachers now will be the highest paid teachers in the state. So therefore, that will be a drawing card to get those effective teachers and to keep the effective teachers. And we all know that when companies find new homes, education is like the number one priority.
Speaking of teachers, you were on board this
Look at
week
that
when they all went to Raleigh.
Good
You like that, huh?
segue, wow.
You like that, huh? You were on board when they all went to Raleigh from Mecklenburg, from all over the state. Another big rally. Again, I keep raising the question, how effective are these rallies? But talk about, what the scene was in Raleigh this week.
Well, the energy was high there. Teachers, they were fired up, and they said that here we go again. And they feel like last year's march worked. At least they got the lawmakers' attention, and they changed some lawmakers with the election. And they said that if we did it last year, then we can do it again this year. And I guess teacher pay did go up. They were marching to give more money for teachers with advanced degrees. That is in the budget this year. They also wanted to march to make sure these non-certified teachers get at least $15 an hour. We're talking about
The part-time
custodians
assistants
and things like that, and teacher assistants.
Yeah.
And one teacher assistant,
Yeah.
she's 51 years old, and she says she still lives at home with her mother because she cannot afford to live out on her own with the teacher assistant salary. So I guess the teacher, and one thing that stuck out to me, teachers said that this boosted their morale.
Well,
and we know that teachers, they have a tough job, and anything that can help boost a teacher's morale, that when they'll be refreshed, revived, and on a mission when they go back into the classroom, then, you know, they say that is worth it. But they are getting politicians' attention, and they're going to hold politicians.
Well, here's
to
the thing. You know,
fire.
they set up county by county outside in the rally, and they waited for the lawmakers to come out and meet them. They didn't schedule any meetings, for the most part, with the lawmakers, you know, in the legislature. So after you've waved your signs and chanted your slogans, if you're not meeting with the lawmakers who are making these decisions, have you really, again, accomplished anything beyond building your morale and boosting the energy of your membership?
Well, I think it won't be one and done. So after the march, they did form in groups and they strategized. So that means that, hey, if I didn't talk to my lawmaker on Wednesday, then I will talk to him next week. Okay. And they have a whole strategy on how to call their lawmakers and hold them accountable and call them up, email them. And I think that we will see if that march, if it works. But I think that it's getting the politicians' attention. They do know that teachers are watching their every move. So it was very good. Sea of red there. People were chanting, holding signs. And I guess one sign that stood out, one teacher said that, hope I can say this. Hope it doesn't get me in trouble. But it says that my bra gives me better support.
I'm moving away.
Hang on, let me check. Nope, we can't say that. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
You're gonna edit it out.
So those are the signs. You know, teachers, they got very creative.
Let's just stop right now, okay? We're out of time anyway, but thanks again.
On that note.
Thank goodness, we're out of time, but thanks again for joining us. At home, you can always join us online. Just go to Off the Record at WTVI.org and direct your comments to Dedrick Russell, okay? Please.
I didn't make it up. That's what the sign read.
Hey, thanks for joining us again this week, and we'll see you next time on Off the Record.
A production of PBS Charlotte.